Hello.
Hi, and welcome to the new hot show on Euphoria, DICED,
Yeah,
the
it's
show
fun.
where we cook our guests and we cook the food too.
I think I would be pretty delicious. I use a lot of fresh ingredients. I don't eat a lot of processed food, so I'm prime.
Yes, this is bio food. So, welcome to DICE, the show where we talk about TTRPG and cooking. Two of, well, most of our viewers' patience, honestly. And today I have a very special guest with me, as you've seen, Aida.
Hi. Hi, my name is Aida. My pronouns are she and her. I just realized I have my Hello Kitty blanket here for some reason. Hi. She's cute. I'm a Latina woman of color. I'm an immigrant in the Netherlands. And I'm excited to be here because I really like food. Food is very central to my identity, to my family, and I think it's such a really cool storytelling vehicle, whether or not you're playing TTRPGs.
Yes. Well, let's be honest. You are known for one type of snack in particular, so
No way. That can't be true. Those are false rumors, and you will be hearing from my lawyers, and they're going to be bringing snacks.
well, let's see. Which snacks do you have nearby? Let's
So
put
yeah,
these rumors to a test.
yeah, you caught me. So, by birth, I'm from the United States. My family's from South America. So I'm a first generation immigrant. And then I immigrated here to the Netherlands. And I've been here like 15 years now. And Dutch food culture, I have really unattainable mean standards. But they have this one cookie that is very, I think, for Dutch, well known. It's called a stroopwafel. It's spelled with two O's, so it's not stroopwafels like English speakers say. It's stroopwafel, and it's a cookie that is pressed between two metal plates, and in the middle caramel. And if you see Ida in real life, like at a convention or in the Netherlands or in the wild, she might be handing one to you. And they look like crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. This. This is a
Well,
stroopwafel.
now you now you just given permission to anyone watching to go bother the soup waffle fairy for one.
And these are original to a town, to a city I live quite nearby. It's a city called Gouda, or as English people call it, Gouda, which is also very well known for cheese. But Arsene, I know you're not a cheese aficionado, which is fine. But they're very well known for this cookie. And one of the brands that is very local to the city is named after a guest you might be familiar with.
Oh, Marcus.
Marcus
Again!
Rashford again. And I should share pictures with you later because I was in town thanks to coordination with my husband, just to walk around and pick up these really fresh sopas because you can get these at any Dutch supermarket. You can even get them in Brooklyn, New York City. But these are much fresher. They have less ingredients, less preservatives. There's even a, I think it's close to 24/7, but there is a automated vending machine wall of just stroopwafels,
Oh my god.
unmanned.
So a wall or just
Yeah, like a vending machine, but a wall of it. So these is what you can get at any supermarket, and this is typically what I hand out. You can also buy them individually wrapped, which I do for people outside the Netherlands because this is really heavy to carry. And this is unfortunately a the best thing, the next best thing you can get to the real stroopwafels.
oh. Where can you find the wheel?
At the actual bakeries in Gouda, or frankly at any street market, as most major cities have, and you get this super fresh, huge stroopwafel.
That's a good size, yes.
This is the proper, authentic size. because these you take home, and then when you drink your coffee and your tea, you put it over your teacup and it softens and it gets ever so slightly gooey. This is a couple of hours old. I had to go to the city to bring it back.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll say about stroopwafels, other than that, you can get them with honey, caramel, chocolate dipped, is that it's beautifully round, but they cut that on purpose. And then you can buy the 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 cutting out, the snipped part. They're called snippers. You can buy just like a box or a horn full of
Snippers.
stroopwafel crumbs.
All right. Geniuses.
Big stroopwafel, please sponsor us.
Anyone.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Marcus Stroopwafel. Richting Gouda. Lekker. Sponsor us.
Perfect. We'll send that mail to any agent, to any soup waffle factory.
Yeah.
Honestly, when they talk about the Netherlands to make movies, sometimes they think about, oh, it's really beautiful countryside. Oh, Amsterdam is really a great city to visit. No, the one way to get me interested is the Strootwafel.
Yes. Well, if I ever come to you, if I ever know you're going to be somewhere, Arsene, I hope I catch you, and I hope I have enough stroopwafels in my backpack because I tend to be handing them out like a stroopwafel fairy. Indeed, this is true. And it's a way of diplomacy as well. You get to know me, you get to know like, oh, Ida has adopted this culture and she's proud of this little cookie, and I hope it's memorable.
Well, when you say adopted, at the start of the show, you said that you had very high standard.
Yeah.
When you came here in the here in the Netherlands,
Yeah.
apart from the truffle, what are the food you really discovered and connected with? In a sense?
Oof. Um, so cities like Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and The Hague are the biggest cities in the Netherlands and thus are the most multicultural. Outside those bigger cities, it's very not. So there I was originally born and raised in New York City, which is the multicultural capital I think of anywhere. So it was hard for me to gravitate to particular things because I gravitated to the ideas of fresh food, going to markets, going to supermarkets multiple times a week and getting your fresh ingredients. That was new, and I kind of grew fond of that. But as a cuisine, I have to be diplomatic and say it's okay.
You can eat it. It's edible.
Yeah, and if people like it, all the power to them. Please don't revoke my visa.
They will force feed you food until you said it's good.
I eat everything. I try everything. I appreciate when it's made with love and care for me. The only thing that is never made with love and care and is made 100% of vitriol, hatred, and unkindness is licorice. And here in the Netherlands, it's called drop. So it's the black candy made from anise.
Ah, yes, yes.
Tastes
I
like
think
printer ink.
yeah, I've never been fond of those either,
It's an acquired taste.
and I didn't acquire it,
Me neither.
and I'm not looking to pay for it.
Me neither.
Well, since you have such high standard, what are your favorite things to cook from your own culture?
Oh man. Uh so my family's from South America, from Bolivia to be exact. And the food tends to be very spicy, very potato heavy, and very meat heavy because my family's from the highlands, from the mountains. So
Oh,
fresh greens weren't so common, at least when I was very little and I would visit every summer. Canned foods was only very, very recent with opening trade in the early 90s. Oh my goodness. But I
Yes.
have these memories of these like very meat and potato heavy dishes.
And when you say spicy, what are the usual spice you can find?
Chili peppers. Chilies, they are indigenous to the Andean highlands. Before European colonialists, they didn't exist outside the Americas. So the chili pepper, the hot peppers, every variety, they all originated from the Andean highlands. So there's so many names, and their names are not in Spanish that I could easily point out that have like very bright, almost fruity, spicy flavors. Heat that is very instant because it's very cold in the highlands. So that was what you ate to warm up as well. Put it in your soup even.
Oh, and so that was food. What's a traditional dish, for example, of meat and potato there? How do you cook it?
A very traditional food is something called chuño or tunta. So these are indigenous words, not Spanish, because again, the potato originated in the Andean highlands between Peru and Bolivia. So when people think of potatoes as, oh, that's the Russians eat that, the Irish eat that, the Germans, the Dutch eat up potatoes,
No, no, it's from there.
it's 100% from there. And we Bolivians, especially Bolivians, but Peruvians as well, we freeze dry the potatoes. So we take a potato that you might be familiar with, like so big. So I'm holding my hands out like two side by side, and then we spread them out on a clean cloth, and then they get stepped on by bare feet. So this increases their surface area, and they're left out for a couple of days in this, it's like 3 kilometer altitude when I say highlands, and it's dry and it's cold, and this has a freezing effect where the potato expands and shrinks, and eventually it looks like a stone, a calcified hard rock. Depending if it was exposed to the air or not, covered later, it goes white or black. And these are freeze-dried potatoes, and they get rehydrated in a lot of highland dishes ultimately. But they're a way to keep this really culturally, almost religiously significant food source viable all year round before refrigeration was a thing. And you boil it and you mash it, and it's tough, but it gives you a lot of energy.
Potatoes are good.
Potatoes are good. Potatoes do a lot. They do a lot. They provide starch. Their flowers are sometimes the only source of color you see in a geographic location that isn't very amenable to lush trees or bushes or any sort of thing as well.
Uh, and what's something from the US what's the thing that you miss the most here in the Netherlands that you can't find?
I have a cheap answer to the variety. It's the variety. Here where I am, at least, I can't get Mexican food made by Mexicans. I can't get. It's hard to find Filipino food made by Philippines. It's hard to find Ethiopian food made by Ethiopian. Maybe in Amsterdam, likely if I really dig around, but outside those city centers, the variety is a bit lacking. So even if I consider a supermarket where I was born and raised in New York City, uh, had a lot more variety of things. Yes, okay, here in Holland, at my supermarket, I have 40 types of different cheeses from Gouda, from Gouda. But in my supermarket in New York City, I had 40 types of distinct cheese rather than types of one type of cheese. So to say, sorry, cheese.
So you miss so you miss the variety, you miss
Yeah,
diversity. Yeah, yes, I can see it in. If you don't live in the big city, yes, I can see.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You like a bit of every plate.
I like a bit of every plate, and I like it when you can really taste when people of that culture, of that land, have made it themselves.
always a different flavor when it's cooked by someone who knows what they're doing, who's from there.
Yeah, yeah. And somehow you're always going to find like someone cooking and they came from this one tiny village and they ended up in New York City and they're cooking their food. So it's the equivalent of not the equivalent, but it's the next best thing of being in that tiny remote town. So like even if one were to say like yes, this place in France or this place in the Netherlands has hyper local traditional recipes, for some reason, because the universe said so, there is someone very similar who happened to transplant to New York and has a pop up restaurant doing it for only 2 months. But they are there somehow, briefly.
Uh, like I said before, food is a good way to make me go to places. So, New York City trip just for the food,
Oh
just
man,
so
that
that
would
I
be
have one
gorgeous.
place to taste all the food.
They have a stroopwafel place in Brooklyn, and it's this really bougie sort of truck where they sell these kind of stroopwafels, but they dip them in chocolate. And there's like marshmallows, there's
They got
candied pistachios. They like make it really bougie, and then it's like $20 a
it's
stroopwafel.
way it's putting way too much stuff on top.
That's their interpretation. I'm a purist, so I like how they're meant to. I like the original person's interpretation, but you know what? Capitalism's going to capitalize. So
Sadly capitalized. Yeah. And speaking of, let's capitalize on this situation. And now
nice.
we talked a lot about food and what is it. Let's talk on the other side of this project. Let's talk more TTRPG.
Wow.
Wow, who knew we would talk about this? So, do you sometimes play in real life around the real table? And if you do you eat together with
Mm.
your table?
Before the
Yes, before the
in the
time.
before times, I did regularly. Actually, I was the host, so it happened at my house. I wasn't necessarily DMing all the time at first, at least. So yeah, um, I enjoy hosting. I bought when I first bought the dining room table I have. I always imagined that one day it's going to be filled with people enjoying a meal, having a good time, and it became our for several years our D&D table. And yeah, there were always small snacks we can have, and we would eat together. It'd be like mid afternoon usually, early to mid afternoon. So snacks.
Ah,
Um,
so you tend to play more in the afternoon
we
rather
played
than
more in the
towards the evening.
afternoon. Yep.
Well, all right. So in this case, yes, it's more you don't cook a full meal in the afternoon.
Well, not during the days where we would play at my house. Uh, typically, not universally, but typically, Dutch people eat dinner fairly early, like starting 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening, which for me took a lot of adjustment. So we always made sure that people could get home starting around those
Yeah.
times.
All right. It is certainly a way that around different cultures and even inside the same culture, sometimes they eat at different time. I mean, me, I learned to eat more around what 7 p.m.
Me too. Originally 7, 8, even start cooking.
So, so for me eating for me eating at 5 is impossible because I'm still at work.
Yeah.
But it's time for a snack. But when you say snack, what are the usual snacks you can find on your table?
Usually it's a crudité, so cut up fresh vegetables. Usually it's fruit. It's seasonal fruit. So in the winter, when you can get like boxes of mandarins or tangerines, they were really, really plenty. Basically, I try to avoid things that would leave messy residue.
Yes, things that are too fat, too
Yeah.
oily.
Yeah. We had vegetarians at my table, so we didn't really have many. like sausages or sort of things like
Well,
that.
I mean, sausages in Finland don't tend to be snacks a lot.
In the Netherlands, they
In
can
the
be quite
Netherlands,
snacks. Smoked sausages, you can get them little, small fouettes, the Spanish kinds,
yes.
but, not at my tables because we had more than one vegetarian.
So of course, we need to cater to everyone on it. And well, a good fresh carrot is really good.
Yes.
And well, sadly, sometimes the other players aren't on the same line and bring all the chips they can find. And I'm the only one with little cherry tomatoes or carrots, so sometimes little boxes of kiwi fruits already diced.
And the other positive thing, one of the silver linings of hosting is you get to keep all the leftovers.
Yes.
Yes. So,
You who enter here abandon all your leftovers. They're mine.
exactly, that's how it works. Um, and I got introduced to quite some new foods that I wouldn't have gone out for myself because my friends were like, because they were cool, and it wasn't that anyone was cheap. It was like, oh, I saw this, I thought to share it with everyone. Oh, cool. For example, I never had the grapes that taste like cotton candy. Have you heard of these?
I've heard of grapes, but that taste like cotton candies. I don't think I've heard of those.
Yeah, um, a little bit. There are strawberries that taste like raspberry, and strawberries that taste like pineapple. We've had these at the table too, I believe.
Weird.
Yeah,
Strawberry should
weird.
taste like strawberry. This
It's
is my Bob from the Intelligible Man. Strawberries should be strawberries.
Here's a wild recommendation. Peel your strawberry. Take a vegetable peeler and peel it. It's really different. I don't try it one day.
This sounds like madness.
It is, but there's something confusing and very pleasing right after you eat it. I don't do it all the time because it's really wasteful, it feels, but strange. It's good.
Well, tomorrow the market are closed, but Friday I will try to see about some strawberries in the market,
Nice.
and I will take out the mighty peeler and we'll try to test this if I remember to do it. So that's what you do. But if you were to ever cook a full meal for your table of players,
Mm.
what would you cook for the table?
Mm. While I appreciate convenience, there's something very pleasing to me about seeing everyone reach and pull something apart that was part of a one
Oh,
thing, which is very unhandy when you're playing TTRPGs at a table. So you have papers and dice and whatever.
well, don't eat when you play. Eat
Fair.
before. Problem solved. Everyone can reach around.
Yeah. So I like dishes where you have to I like the idea of things that you have to pull apart. So whether it's freshly baked bread rolls that you have to pull apart, whether it's stuffed bell peppers that are all baked in one casserole that you have to pull apart, sort of things. I feel like I have a very pull apart kind of meal because it's nice to see the visualization of it's a whole, but there's pieces of it that belong to each of us rather than serving individual plates.
You heard it here, folk. Ida likes to rip things out.
Yeah, I like seeing people do the reach. I like to see the effort sort of being made.
I don't know where my mind is, but for a moment, when you stop at the I like to see people, I was starting, I like to see people getting teared up. And I was, what the? Or is it just because I am being corrupted by many years of TTRPGs madness?
That's okay. You're still our friend.
Yes, yes, I am.
Yes, you are. And you
I
will have
don't.
stroke waffles when if and when I run into you.
I don't cook my friend. Only when I'm making pot au feu.
Fair. Okay.
uh, and well, that's the food. What about the drinks? What are the usual drinks that And this time it's either around the table or even when it's offline. What do you tend to drink during game?
I tend to forget to drink when I'm DMing, GMing. I forget to drink all the time. As a player, it's easier to drink. Well, no, I take it back. I'm the note taker, so it's hard to drink. So I will have typically water. Um, Depending on the mood, maybe a beer. But I forget to drink it because I love writing at the table, taking notes handwritten, or I'm DMing, GMing, and it's like you're constantly going,
You
and
should be parched. Sometimes you should.
grapes help in this case.
Well, yes, the eye watery food, yes,
Yeah.
certainly. I think oranges, etc.
Oranges are hard to eat. I would say I would find oranges hard to eat at the table, but grapes keeps your hand
Grapes are
clean,
just
easy.
oranges when you already put a slice in, when they're already sliced. Just a slice
Mm,
is good.
fair. I drink water. It's been quite some years that I actually cut out. I don't drink sodas or juices. I'm a bit not so exciting like that. If I drink tea, um, then it's very specialized loose leaf tea, no sugar, no milk. And especially since the pandemic, I've always switched to these sort of bottles that are leak proof, because once we switch to playing online and we have all this sort of nice equipment,
Yes.
it would be awful for that drink to,
Oof.
yeah. So I live by leak proof things you can drink with one hand and I'm not unscrewing or something.
They should invent a combo of uh, audio cast and the sort of things I saw American movies that the water hat, the beer hat that you can put when you have those big things on. And this way there is nothing on the table.
You heard it here. We are officially saying the idea. So you owe us royalties if you make this, because we have proof of when this idea was conceptualized.
We have proof.
Give us our money.
But no, doing weather is fine as long as you don't make monstrosities like Marcus that mix fizzy water and apple juice. No,
Spoiler
madness.
alert. So the tables he was talking about, that was my table. So he came to my house with other colleagues, and for years, and he was like, "Hi," and he would walk directly to my coffee machine because he learned how to use the coffee machine. So when he says, "Yeah, I used a lot of beans," I'm in Dutch. Yeah, that we knew. It was like Ida takes water. Everyone else brings soft drinks. So I was like, okay, I bring a soft drink. Marcus takes black coffee. This person takes that. And they were all ready. They were trained. They knew they had coasters. They knew at the end of the session where the dishwasher was, because we played like 60 sessions in total. Like, dishwasher's over there. You put your things away.
Well, I mean, I too, and I play long time with someone that I know where things are.
Hmm.
It's easy.
I miss that. I miss that.
Yes, yes. And even if Marcus has devised his choice, it would will still love him.
Yeah, yeah. He had the audacity to move away.
How dare he?
How dare he decide to him and his wife have a beautiful house with more space for his loud cat that needs more love and attention? How dare he?
How dare he indeed. Well, and more in game.
Hmm.
One thing the player love is a good tavern.
Yeah,
What is your usual menu when the player asks about, hey, what can we eat in this tavern?
depends. I think for me it depends uh what kind of tavern they're at. Are they at like Did they finally reach a big city? Is it finally an inn at a cross point? Is it a soul traveler with a giant backpack and kind of snacks sort of thing and a sort of a traveling food cart? Um, I think I always like to offer um, hearty meals. And I think I like describing, even if I can't think in the moment what the menu is, it's like you're going to smell something nutty. You're going to smell something roasted. You're going to smell something sweet. There's a sour smell because probably a lot of alcohol or beer was spilled. It's going to smell um, very spicy because you're at this trading post and there's a lot more different people's trading actual spices, made up name here, here, and here, sort of thing. So before I express the menu, I try to express the sort of smell, and then from there I can, oh, that's a roast. Oh, those are grilled mushrooms. Oh, that's a little piece of cotton candy, but it's the size of a rock.
A little piece the size of a rock. Yes, why not?
Why not?
I mean, I did have a small piece at the fun fair recently of cotton candy. I did buy the small piece, but the size was my head disappeared behind it. So
And that was the
generous,
small one.
it was a generously small one. Or maybe they just saw me and they thought, oh, for this one, we'll do a medium instead.
Aw, but you
I
enjoyed
don't
it, I
know.
hope.
Hmm?
You enjoyed it, I hope.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
Nice.
But yes, and I want to get on something. Often when we GM, we tend to focus on the sights.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice to involve the other senses. Like smell is such a nice sense to use too. It's also one of the advice I saw in a werewolf game, not
Mm-hmm.
the Wo- World of Darkness was another one. To just insist on the smell because that's how they mostly look at the world, shall we say.
Yeah.
So smell, I think the sound is sometimes used, but things like smell or sense of touch or something, these senses are underused, I think.
I agree with that. And I know that there are people that also have trouble visualizing things. Like when someone says, imagine a red apple. And some people can
Yeah,
visually construct that red
they can.
apple.
They can.
Some people cannot.
It's called aphantasia. It is,
Aphantasia.
and really a big part of the world has some variation of it.
Yeah.
So
I'm not diagnosed or anything, but when I really stop to think about it, it's like, well, I've memorized what an apple should be like. So why am I wasting time bringing it up a visual image in my head? Huh. But if I want to connect with it, if you tell me about the crunch, if you tell me about, oh, my face got a little wet when I bit into it. Oh, one of the seeds got caught in my teeth. I think that for me and maybe other people, it's a bit of a more uh, unique and deeper storytelling mode than just saying the brilliantly red apple.
yes, I mean, it was for everything. Like, when I was in the car today working and put on the place, when there are songs that play, I can some songs I can always remember. Oh, this song happened when I lived through this.
Mm,
I this was the song that kept me warm when I was stuck in a cold traffic with the snow blocking the way. Oh, I remember this one. I first heard this album when I was in walking around in the sun in Nancy, visiting the parks. Really, when you think of us as humans that can just connect some smells, some sounds with other things, we really
yeah,
should use them more.
yeah. And when I was giving the descriptions of the apple, I never described how it tasted, whether it was sweet, whether it was sour. I didn't describe a texture. Was it mealy? Was it firm? Uh, so I think if you go with one other than touch every now and then, I think that really spices.
Spices
I
things,
think it's
yeah.
more interesting, or rather, it's not that it's more or less interesting, but it's a fresh take that you're not used to, and that sort of, I think, rejuvenates that sort of descriptive skill
It's
a bit.
it keeps things from getting too stale.
Yes, yes, we want our food to be fresh. We want them to be close to when they were picked.
Yes. So here falls one advice for all the GM: come to your senses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if I were to describe this stroopwafel, beyond it being pale golden brown and round and rippled in texture, I could say that it's heavy for its size. It's soft. It pulls apart. It has a caramelly butter smell to it. That it has a viscous center.
Uh, you missed an opportunity to try this close to the mic for some ASMR vibes.
You know what? Maybe for Patreon.
For Patreon. So let's move on to the more personal, shall we say, to me question. My little touches. You have to do a menu with TTRPG.
Oh
Which
dear.
game is your entree or your starter? Which game is your main dish? Which game is your dessert?
Hmm. I will say, having been raised in the United States, like Luyu, I in the beginning I also had the I was used to how meals were being described using French words in the completely wrong context, wrong meaning. So entree was always the primary dish and not the dinner, not the dish you enter with. Entree.
Uh,
But to TTRPG, um, interesting because it's not it's not a small game, but it's a game that I don't recall if someone already said this, but when you say entree, this immediate dish, the immediate game I think of games like The Quiet Year or Microscope.
uh, the Quiet here, I think, was
Mm,
in Microscope by Ben Robbins, I think.
I mean,
I
they're that good games.
I've had a discussion about UCSB, but I don't remember it was diced or not.
I think it was Dice. I think one of your guests indeed did say at
Maybe, but
least
I know
Quiet Year.
I have some friends who are big Ben Robbins fans. So
It's a good game. So there might be other games, but games where there isn't a specific point or plot, but one where the players at the table must come and originally make that plot based on based on the prompt and based on the mechanics in the game. Because as someone who was cooking for someone who was hosting someone, first I need to know beyond your I need to know your dietary preferences. I need to know your allergies. I need to know what is it you're looking for in your meal. Are you looking to feel full? Are you looking to try brand new flavors? Are you looking to have a sensory experience?
are,
Why are you here at my restaurant? What is it you're looking for?
are you using this game to profile your friends?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now imagine you with a secret cabinet of files with your players. So this one is
Yeah.
secret files of Aida.
Like every now and then I might really want to play a horror game like Alien RPG, for example, but that not might be everyone's jam. So it's good to have these sort of games beyond safety tools and communication, just to understand what people's preferences going forward, so I know what sort of quote unquote meals to serve them. So for entree, games like The Quiet Year or games like Microscope, where the players are filling out the plot from scratch.
You know what? I'm
Um,
gonna throw a hot one. I don't think Alien is a good game to play a game of Alien.
no, that is correct.
And the
Xenomorph would
main
be
reason
very bad.
is because it's trolled Alien.
The Xenomorph would be a really bad person, really bad creature to have at the TTRPG table. Very disruptive.
Very destructive.
Very disruptive. For the main course, I would posit a game like
A game that is meat and potatoes.
Coyote and Crow. Are you familiar with
Uh,
Coyote and Crow?
I am familiar with it. Yes, it's a small little indie for two players only. One who plays a crow. No, I confund with badger and no.
Coyote and Crow.
Coyote Crow is the one is a sort of futurism, but inspired by Native Americans. I think.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So it imagines a universe where colonialists never came from outside the Americas, and it's a techno-futuristic universe, but everything is sort of confined within the imagined futuristic cultures from all the indigenous and first peoples of the Americas. And one of the it's a game that is very beautifully fleshed out. The world building things you have to keep in mind, for things that should be kept in mind when you're pulling out these sort of, I don't have a better term for it, but colonialist influences, is like, how did our world, how did this world come to be? When we imagine things, we take for granted that they are from other places. Um, so one thing that is very common on reservations or in towns where legally designated places where indigenous peoples in the United States live is something called fry bread. But wheat was never introduced to the Americas before the Europeans came. So we can posit that Coyote and Crow in the universe, that there was no wheat, that there was no pork. Cows might have not existed the way they do. Maybe some other things happen. I think there may have been wild boars. Bears would have been a more common source of meat. How can we imagine a futuristic world where bears, and because of their food source importance, has a much bigger spiritual meaning, cultural meaning, and it really dissects all these points, and you come out with this appreciation just from understanding. Oh yeah, there's no wheat in this world. Everything was corn based. If you're from South America, everything was potato based, for example. Um, it's like imagining it's like imagining an Italy without tomatoes. It's like imagining a China without chilies. So Coyote and Crow, because there's something beautiful and intricate and honest that really challenges your it really challenges your perceptions while you're playing it. On top of it being a beautiful story, a D12 system, which you finally get to use your beautiful D12s, not just when you're playing barbarians in D&D, for example. And it's just heckin' fun, and I wish it would find its way to more tables.
Yes. It should. It should. And wasn't the creator of this game offering services for what's the name? Uh, sensitivity reading, I think is the name. But didn't don't they offer also to be consultant on games for such things?
I know that their game for sure has had a lot of sensitivity readers work on it, so it wouldn't surprise me that they probably work in other games and fields providing those services as well.
Yes. Well, I've heard routine. I have the cover in my head. It was a really striking cover. I really liked it.
Yeah,
So
I
this
forget to
is
play it. Try it.
so this is your main dish.
Yes.
Well, now we have a dessert to go to.
Have a dessert. We got exploratory in the entree. We challenged what we thought to be true in the main course.
Yes.
And now for the dessert, I just want everyone to laugh. I want everyone to have a ridiculous time as a palate cleanser. That doesn't take away from the gravitas of the things you had before, but just laughter helps you digest better. So I would suggest a friend called Ivris Burke from Buttonkin Games has written a game called Drama Llama.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
And it is a game in which this is a universe where everyone are llamas. You can ask your
Already a good
GM.
start.
You can ask your GM if someone is an alpaca or something, but llamas. And the premise is you are llamas and you are on a reality TV show.
Yes, yes.
But the game takes place with the cameras rolling and with the cameras not rolling. So
It's
as
both
you're
sides, and you have the little things behind the scenes to arrange yourself with someone. So,
exactly,
yes, yes.
you can connive, and on camera you can be someone completely different.
Honestly,
It's
if a
fun.
game about reality TV doesn't offer some behind the scenes stuff, I think it lacks something.
There's
Uh,
that brutally honest moment where the as a player you can say to the camera, well actually I meant to cut that bitch. And maybe there won't be any in-game the other characters don't know that, but as players you get to be part of like this really stunned fun audience, and then you sort of have to twist your mind. My character doesn't know that, my character doesn't know that, and
you
it's sort of
need
this
to change.
fun
You
thing.
need to switch between your audience mind and your player mind.
And I think it's fun. I think it's really liberating to just say to the camera, oh actually I put gum in her shoes, and you get to sort of own it instead of
Yes,
doing again, I'm going to bring the trope back to D&D, where the players just sit there for like half an hour planning how they're going to encounter the dragon, and none of it happens. In reality TV show, you do it and you go for the biggest shock value you can, and then later you say, I meant it.
it was all part of the plan.
Exactly. That thing we all messed up, totally planned.
Suddenly, you reveal yourself to be an evil mastermind while you appear like an innocent little angel on camera.
That is literally an archetype in Drama Llamas. There are multiple
Of course, it is
archetypes
an
you can
archetype.
take. There's the plotter, the mastermind. There's the crybaby. I played the crybaby. I played an AP for a while on Drama Llamas. Actually, that's how I got to know the game. And my archetype was the crybaby. So I got a mechanical bonus when my character would cry. So I would show up in like cheap mascara, take a glass of water, and on camera just smear my face and start crying. I also got to eat dice. I had to make like this
So you
viral moment. So I started shoveling dice into my mouth on camera to eat dice.
I mean, there are several dice out there, I think they exist. So you can hit some dice.
Yes, please. Disclaimer: please only eat dice that are specifically meant to be edible.
Edible.
Do
Yes,
not
yes.
munch the math rocks otherwise. This is not good for you.
No. You don't eat rock, so you don't eat the mac rock either.
No. Well, you can eat rock. Well, you cannot
You
eat
can
rocks, but they can
lick
be.
them. That just means you're a geologist.
There are some dishes I learned recently. There's a dish
Well,
in Italy where you would take sea rocks and boil them with
no,
your pasta, and they would
there,
impart some
there is
flavor.
one example of the rock you eat that almost everyone eat. It's called salt.
I like salt. Salt is so good.
Salt is a rock, and we eat it.
That is true.
That is true.
It dissolves, though. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. So, to recap, Entree, a little game with prompts like Riot or Microscope.
Yes.
The main course is Coyote and Crow.
Yes,
And
Coyote and
then
Crow.
dessert we do with the drama llamas.
We play drama llamas.
And we laugh.
And we laugh and we digest. And then even after the dessert, so there's going to be a coffee, or there's going to be some sweet liqueurs as well. Maybe a nice grenat, maybe a nice porto.
Maybe. I mean, this is our menu. We decide whatever we want to eat after that. Huh?
Well,
Usually the wine and the liquor and the coffee is not on the menu because everyone chooses what they want.
yeah. Well, you were saying one decides. There's a trope that I accept and embrace about Latina people, is that we're feeders. When I say, "Do you want some?" This is me informing you. It's not a question of consent.
It's just say you want some, take it.
Yes, but society has taught me to frame it as a question. So this trope exists in multiple cultures, etc. But
But
at least
you
along
are
Latin
one
Latin
of them.
American people, it's very accepted and very
You
proud
are
thing.
the mama bird feeding a little chicks.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And let's say you open a restaurant or food truck with a particular concept. You will match a game and a dish. What is your game dish combo?
Ooh,
That the sort of dish that will go well with this game, that will represent it well.
that's a tough one.
Yes.
Um, I can't think off the top of my head of TTRPGs that really involve chance and like sort of gambling elements, like raise stakes sort of kind of games. Because then I'm thinking,
I
um,
mean, technically, all games that use dice are tend to be gambles.
so they would be games where, sorry, the food concept would be, um, in Latin America, we call them empanadas, which means breaded in English. It's basically a piece of flat bread, though, something in the middle. In some countries, it's cheese. In some countries, it's like a little stew or meat or something, folded in half, crimped around the edges, and then baked. So it can either be savory or sweet. But you typically, unless you know, there's no way to see what's inside.
Ooh.
So there
So,
would be some sort of
surprise.
TTRPG where you'd have a whole platter of empanadas, but there would be one that's really sour. There would be one that's super spicy, and you don't know which one it is. And
You
you
take
have
a
to
bite of it.
you have to play the game and sort of Russian roulette your way through the empanadas.
Now I can imagine a game where you took those, you have one sour, one spicy, one a different flavor, and when you want to do something, you take a bite of one, and it's a sweet one, so you succeed in this way. It's a sour, it's a partial success, so depending on which one you bite.
In that case, because the spicy one would be, depending on who you are, bad, I'd say that because you went through the experience of maybe with consent suffering eating that really spicy empanada, like the best possible outcome comes to you in game, like you sort of paid for it. So this would be very much you're aware this could happen, so you're okay potentially
Yes,
eating something really
always be
spicy.
upfront about the
Yeah,
consequences.
especially with food allergies and
Especially with food.
insensitivities is
We
like
don't want.
we don't fuck with that. That is
No,
really
we don't.
no. Ooh. My dad's a chef, where my high standards come from. So I learned for over many years about safety inspections and all that sort of thing. So no,
Nah,
we
nah,
don't joke with that.
nah. Okay.
But for fun, yeah, something would be
For
super
fun, yeah, but
for fun. Yeah,
of course we will always be very careful with everything that is your dietary requirements.
yeah,
Yeah,
and like with
it's just a.
TTRPGs,
I mean, it's just another form of safety tool.
that's exactly correct. I love it.
So, not really a particular game, more the games that are more gambles with, well, a gamble to it.
A gamble to eat. You don't know what's an empanada, so maybe you trade that off. Like let's make a deal sort of thing.
Let's make sure. I will trade you this one for this one. I don't know why. I have a good feeling about this.
No, well, statistics say that there were 10 empanadas and six of them were sweet. So that means this one has to be based on whoever ate the last ones must be the sour one, or that one has to be the spicy one.
Different types of gambler. The one who just goes with his gut and the one who calculate probabilities.
But if you like empanadas and you like those are going to make good memories. Someone
I like
hopefully
the concept. I will only say that I like it when I have it. But
fair.
the concept, I mean, bread with stuff inside is a good concept.
What would be your ideal sort of fillings for empanadas? If all you know is that it's food that is uh, inside bread and baked.
What is the taste of the bread? What sort of bread is it?
Really depends where you go up and down South America. Um, in some countries, it's very thin, and sometimes it can be sweet. If you go sometimes towards the middle mountainous regions, it's like an enriched, almost pizza dough. So it's like an enriched dough, but it has manteca. It has as butter and has egg. If you go even more south, it's almost corn. So let's
Okay,
take let's take the middle one, like a neutral pizza bread.
okay. So then I will say a sort of farce, a sort of meat farce, like regular beef, regular cow. Sorry for the non-vegan. Sorry for the vegan. I am non-vegan,
Hmm.
but not just but mixed. Mixed in bowl with some spice, with some little bit of pepper in it, with some a little bit of carrots, a little bit of some herbs inside. That you mix it in, and then you cook it in, and then you cook it inside.
Yeah,
I
you are
think
describing what I known as a salteña, and it's like an empanada, but imagine that there's usually beef or chicken stew. It's either chicken or beef with potatoes, with diced potatoes, with peas, a very sort of thin broth. Um, Sometimes like a portion of a hard-boiled egg, and the dough is made with a little bit of gelatin, because if it's not, then all the liquid content just spill outside.
yes. I was wondering about the liquid from the stew.
Yeah, so you know you're like native to this region if you can eat one without needing a napkin. And
Oh.
if you're not familiar, then you make a mess.
Interesting concept. I but yes, sort of this sort of missing I will go for. Hardball egg is also something I will always eat. This is one of my eggs are one of my many weaknesses. But yes, but if it's a thing that I like hot, I think I will eat it. It
Nice.
depends on what for.
Yeah, I,
Yeah.
I couldn't I couldn't really promise you a salteña, or
Mm.
if you ever
Oh,
in the if you're ever in the Netherlands, and if you're in the Netherlands and I know in advance, I might try to make you empanadas. But other than that, no, it's safer for me to just offer you stroopwafels in the wild.
it's it's easier to transport them in the wild too. I think.
That is true. Well, it's not hard to transport empanadas, but they're a bit of a thing to make.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so this is another one from my list of things to try. Um, let's say, what is the monster or the plant from a TTRPG bestiaries of world that you would like the most of, that you want to try to cook or to eat the most? What is the one whose taste intrigued you the most?
There's a dish in my household that we really like a lot. It's a Japanese dish called oyakodon. And this
Oh,
translates to mother and child dish. It's a rice with chicken and egg. So the chicken is the mother and the egg is the child.
yes.
So I would like to eat a monster. And if that monster has an egg, that's served with it. So a cockatrice, bowl with a cockatrice egg cracked over it. Um, in D&D lore, the Sauhagen, the fish people, and their caviar on top, like it's like the monster and its egg
Progeny.
progeny
And
egg. I won't say
won't, yes, I
yeah.
won't. It's just so.
Yes,
But
I would like that pairing.
I want the pairing of a mother and a child to eat them together.
Yes, cheeseburgers, right? Beef and the milk that is meant for the cow goes on top of the burger. We like it. We all like if we like cheeseburgers.
I never thought of it this way. But I will also say that there is something different between directly eating the meat and than eating just the milk. Uh, I think there is something a little different in that. But yeah,
But
why not? Well, oyakodon is a good meal.
yeah,
I like to make it myself too.
yeah, it's delicious. And one of the culinary guidelines is that food goes best with food of its own region, right? Spanish food goes best with Spanish wine, typically, et cetera, et cetera. So wouldn't the meat and its byproduct also really match well together?
No waste at all. We
When
cook
you have
everything and we cook everything together.
when you have sushi and there's salmon in it, isn't it nice when you have like the little roe on it?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of fish,
Okay.
especially so.
It gives a nice kind of salty aftertaste to something that can be very fatty, like in a salmon, for example.
Well, this is one fatty food, yes.
Yes.
But
So yeah, give me a
I mean,
cockatrice and an egg. Give me a dragon and its egg. Give me a sauhagen and its fish eggs.
um, are you worried that the perception that the people have of you will change with this answer? Because I don't know. It feels a little.
What perception is that, Arsene? Tell.
Well, do you GM games?
Not for a long time. I haven't GM'd in a while.
But you were a GM.
Yeah, I was a GM
So,
for a while.
so sadly, we all know that all GMs are psychopaths.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
This is this is a joke. But yes, we are. It takes a certain kind of people to do this.
I call them masochists.
Well, all players are masochists too.
Oh, I don't know.
I
There
mean,
are
I
some
mean,
players who are so
yes,
beyond
but
understanding of their own selves that I'm like, you're not a
yes,
masochist. You're just
but
empty.
only with all players you can find someone that say, "I came here to try and try a lot."
Mm. I mean, good food can do that too. I
Yes,
mean,
but
Ratatouille, the movie,
different
was a
types of.
touchstone for me. So
I mean, this is more tears of joy, I think, for
yeah,
food.
I hope so.
I hope so. Or tears of, oh my god, it's too spicy.
I've had. When was, if I may ask you, Arshan, when was the last time a food elicited an emotional, physiological response in you?
Physical response. Ah, uh,
Oh, are you looking to have in the future food that elicits a physiological, emotional response?
well, if it's an emotional to no, yes. If it's only a physical, it's still an allergy.
Let's not do those.
No,
Yeah.
it's just. But mm, I did I.
Aw.
No, I a really strong emotional one. I don't think. Mm, Not maybe to the type of no. I
It's been a while.
I mean I had bad reaction to food that sort of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just discovered. Well, you try something, you discover, oh my god, it's anus.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I mean, I like good food, but to I don't think I ever that elicited a strong emotion.
Hmm. I think
Not
you brought up
maybe not in
spicy
this way.
food. Okay, interesting. You brought up spicy food. So in recent memory, the last one that did that to me was spicy food. Are you familiar with a internet show YouTube called Hot Ones?
Yes,
I ordered the from one season the whole batch of chilies, and number eight did exactly what it did to me, as you see on the YouTube.
on
So
the
yeah, that's what it
on the
did.
floor with.
Yeah, yeah, it was bad. But the so that's a physiological, emotional. But the I think the first one I had, and I remember the first one. This is where my food snobbery comes into play. I remember I turned 16 years old, and instead of having a party, my parents arranged for me to have dinner at a restaurant owned by Nobu, who is a very well known Japanese chef who had, at the time, just one restaurant in New York City that was on the same block as the restaurant my father worked at, which was irrelevant. So basically, I got to have, as a 16-year-old, very special treatment at this very famous chef's table. And what Nobu's restaurant did at the time was he combined Peruvian food and Japanese food. So there is a Peruvian community. Sorry, there's a Japanese community in Peru and Bolivia. And in Peru, this fusion of their two foods is called Nikkei. And 16-year-old Ida is many, many, many years ago. And I remember this one rock shrimp dish with this light pink orange sweet chili that was spicy but pleasant. The texture of the shrimp was the opposite spectrum of rubbery, and it still tasted like almost seawater, but it had the sweetness that shrimp does, but it had a bite because it's a rock shrimp. And at 16 years old, I was like, oh, this is what food mastery is meant to
To be.
taste like. This is not my friends getting excited about pizza or shots, or if I may say, the American restaurants, TGIF or Fridays or whatever. I had the unique opportunity because my father works as a chef and had connections.
To go to.
We didn't have much, but we had these sort of connections. And at that point, I was like, this is someone's history. This is someone's love. This is someone's dedication. Not a single crumb was out of place on this plate. And 20 years later, I remember this dish. Like it like struck that much of an emotional chord in me. So I've been chasing that high, those sort of moments since then.
Oh well, I now my wallet will suffer because I will try to go to this.
I love Nobu-san. His restaurants have gotten a little too commercialized, so mm,
Mhm.
no heyday.
Well, I will try to go to big restaurants
It
to try to see if with a chef on the way. Nikkei I've heard of because I've seen a Japanese food place near where I work promoting it.
mhm.
I don't think it will be to the level of a chef because I don't think it's well. It's in a touristic city, so
Mhm, mhm.
may not be very traditional. But I will maybe try it sometime. I will try to see. Ah,
Like it didn't have to be Nobu. It didn't have to be New York City. It didn't have to be hot cuisine. It just so happened that this particular instance was just high mastery, and I think that exists um, even in little towns. There is someone in my suburban place that I'm sure is making dishes from the heart. It is underappreciated. It is not on the menu like a high celebrity chef. It's like in Ratatouille, the moment that Igor had the actual Ratatouille
oui.
dish, right? Um, for me, it happened to be at this very fancy place. Uh, uh, I've had high food moments at food carts. Probably imagine 1 or 2 times. Uh, so I think everyone can find or access, or even it's your own, or maybe a family member makes it for you really well.
No, I have a new height to check.
Yeah.
Try to see if I remember my experiences or if I can make new ones.
Just like a good TTRPG session, at the end of it, you feel that friction. You feel like those goosebumps of, oh my God,
Oh,
we did that.
I have fell in love with TTRPG at first play.
Yeah.
It happened. When I say at first play, this was because I didn't know the rule before. I was just there for the ride, and suddenly it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and you're chasing that. Is imagine if you can go back to when you didn't know TTRPG, you get to experience again for the first time. That'd be cool. What would I do now different? I don't know. I'd have just as
Honestly,
much food on my table though.
uh, watching a recent episode of Taskmaster Australia, where the one of the defeats was write a song where you learn a lot about your 13-year-old self, I would say, hey, look at this hobby, get into it.
Do it. Oh my God, there's a really cool game by
And
Two
please
Summers.
buy
Comartan?
this one before it's too late. It will be worth million, literally.
What was the game by Comartan? Two Summers?
uh, there are a lot of games by Tom Martens. So Two Summer is the one where you play both the adult and the child.
That one. That one.
It's Two Summers.
Yeah. Imagine you had a TTRPG game that you never finished as a kid and you make it back 20 years later as an adult. Like, oh, let's finish this.
This is also something you should do in RPG.
Oh,
Yeah, but
man.
yeah, Two Summers we should come next to my in my trade. Or I think I have the no, it's in the part that I need to actually get on shelf because I haven't put it back on the list yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Tom Martin is a great French game
Yeah.
designer.
Yeah. We have them all around Europe. Cool TTRPG designers. Wow.
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 But yes, it's really good games. And well, we we talked a lot, and now it's time for the last question.
Okay.
So, well, you've seen the show before, now you know. Do you go for the regular safe dehydration or do you drink from the potion?
I like being the player that pushes the button. So
Yes.
roll for me, please, Arsene.
So,
Something has to happen. Someone's got to run up and Leroy Jenkins or whatever every now and then.
so 16. Let's see what 16 is on my little list. All right. So let's cook a fantasy meal for your players. That is, the name of the meal is a fantasy name like Dragon on the Roast. Which meal would you cook from what monster parts? And what are the real ingredients for the dish? This is a real dish that you serve your players. You just say it is the name of a fantasy dish, but what are this dish and its real ingredients?
To accommodate the vegetarian friends at my table, I would call it something like let's say the fantasy name is Fire Hortensia. I picked a flower name. And it's, let's say that this was a plant monster that has giant flowers, a center body like those bog plants, has tentacles and vines that are venomous, poisonous, I don't remember which word to use. And it's just like this giant, massive plant, um, beast that has been felled, and we're going to eat it together. But how it would be executed in real life I think it would be like a series of multiple plant-based dishes or plant preparations where you would need the textures of, okay, here's that flour bit. Okay, then we're going to have something like sorry, um, those little tomatoes that come nested in those outer leaves, for example, to get the idea of flowers. The bog part has to be some very thick uh, plant. So I'm imagining something like bok choy, or with a very heavy, thick stem. So you sort of get that thick chew part. The long tentacles that it has, maybe um, something bitter, something like radicchio, something that is brightly colored to meet that flower end. And of course, in the middle of the beast monster, there is some very precious, highly rare, sought for little ingredient that is sweet or very delicious. And at the table, this could be like a preparation, like a candied aloe vera dish.
Oh. Yeah. What? Yeah. Sounds good.
Is it vegetarian if the plant is alive and monstrous?
Uh, Question for another time. This is maybe. I mean, the problem is the sentience of thing uh is it vegan? Well, that's the question for the viewers at home. Is eating a plant monster vegan or not?
Yeah,
We don't know yet.
we don't know yet. I like how you say we don't know yet.
We don't know it. We're not sure yet. But let's experiment and let's see if it is or not.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And well, let's make it a bar exam. You have 4 hours on your copy to answer. No,
Go hunting.
no, but go in the comment, go in the chat to explain what is your opinion on this, because that sounds like an interesting question. Actually,
Yeah, don't come for me. I would eat it anyway, given a chance.
don't come for me. Just don't.
No, otherwise I won't give you stroopwafels if you come for me. If you're my friend, I'll give you
You won't
stroopwafels.
find me. I will find you.
To give you stroopwafels. All right. I hope we run into each other in the future then. Genuinely. I'll be ready.
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
be ready to
Looks like
feed you.
yes. I will meet you, Mr. Stu's waffle dealer.
Soon. Soon.
So that was also diced. The food was cooked. The meal was delicious. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for this chat. Thank you for recommending it to Euphoria. I think it was a really cool idea because food tells a story at the table, above the table. People come together for all things around the table to talk, to create stories, and to eat. So
Yes,
it makes perfect sense.
yes. I like eating a good story.
Mm.
Well, this happens when you eat your words sometimes.
That is also true.
It's also true. So thank you, then you and Euphoria for giving the pitch the green light.
Yeah,
Yes, thank
you're
you.
very welcome.
You have all wonderful shows on this channel. And if you want to know more about Euphoria, well, we have all the links, all the social listed below.
Mhm.
Find them almost anywhere online. I don't think you're on Tumblr yet. You should go. Mm,
Who
ah,
knows in the
who
future?
knows? Aida, do you have anything special to plug about your project or about Euphoria, something coming next?
Ooh. Hi, I'm one of the co-founders of Euphoria, and there is a lot on the menu coming out for 2025. We haven't announced it all yet because we are busy hamsters working on that in the back end. But uh, it's not as exciting, but I can promise you that we have some amazing, cool stories featuring amazing, talented, diverse TTRPG talent from all across Europe, um, representing that the center of the TTRPG universe is not just in the US. There is so much to be excited about here, and I really can't wait. For example, for Alien RPG, the second edition, to be published. Who knows?
Who knows? Freely, please contact us.
Yes, yes. So that the xenomorph can eat.
Yes, we need to feed the xenomorph. And who knows, maybe if the xenomorph discovers the joy of cooking food, maybe we stop eating us.
It's adorable. Oh well. To be
alas,
determined, to be seen.
alas, I will say this while I'm being currently eaten by the monster.
That is a rule. Thank you for having me again, and I hope to see
Thank
you
you for
around.
coming. I see you around. I've been Arsene, your host for DICED. You can find me on a lot of places at either Arsene Inc. or La Galerie Holist. I am a game player, a game designer too. Recently released a little game about Paul McCartney trying to chase the zombie of the real Paul to put a rest to all the rumors.
I love it.
So yes, silly game like that. And really, thank you all for coming. Eat well. I hope you're hungry now. Eat so let's eat another meal in the night.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.